We won't trust what any of you say about us, particularly members of our immediate family. For those of you that haven't heard the story, Carol and I first met and got to know each other through the wonderful world of internet dating. In order to do a little speech, I did go back and look at Karen's profile page. Is it still up there? It's not alive.
Just in case you never know.
She's not still looking.
Did she use her picture?
Well, the funny thing is, Dawn, that one of the things that I thought Karen was quite good fun to be with, is that you appear on Karen's internet dating page. A photo of you and Karen in a pub together. And the first story that Karen said is someone had said to her, "Who's your mate?" Yeah, so but my impressions of Karen from her webpage were that she really liked travel, was quite sporty, liked theatre, and she looked like someone that I quite wanted to get to know and be friends with at the very least. We decided after a period of time sort of emailing and sort of internet, sort of instant messaging I suppose, Karen seemed to be extremely keen to meet up. And I realised that it wasn't actually an indication of how keen she was to meet me, but just her really cutthroat approach to cast me aside to move on to the next person.
Yes or no?
Yeah, waste time. She actually said that, "I don't want to waste time, either with me or we stop." So we first met very naively, not being very experienced at internet dating, very naively. I had some friends over for the Six Nations, and I invited Karen over to my house to watch the England versus Wales game. Just as well she's not a stalker. It was contentious. So not realising how contentious the England versus Wales game was. So Karen turned up. I did believe that I was speaking to someone English, and Karen turned up in full Welsh regalia. With a shirt on, cried her way through Bread of Heaven, and then managed to contain her anger when England won.
I think Wales won that day.
I don't think so. I spent the first few months not really understanding the Welsh connection, and spent several conversations saying, "Are you actually Welsh?" Well, no, but one of the highlights of Karen's Welsh moments was actually waking up singing the song by Catatonia. Every day when I wake up, I thank the Lord I'm Welsh. But actually isn't. As we got to know each other, I felt that I really needed to disclose to Karen the other woman in my life, and that was Ebony the cat. Luckily, Karen embraced Ebony's very special needs by not making too much noise and bonding. And luckily, Ebony quite liked Karen and allowed us to continue seeing each other. Because actually, that was the deal breaker.
That wasn't me. I did break that one.
We decided to break the news to family and friends. We broke the news, I think, to probably most of the people in this room first. I was quite surprised at some of the responses. Quite a few people assumed that I'd been married to Lionel, my French flatmate. Andrea, you were my favourite response when you actually said, "To be honest, Helen, I'd never pictured you with anyone." So I'm just really, really happy that you're with someone. I don't care who they are. So thank you for that. Grounding as usual. We decided for our families to meet. We both picked a particularly tricky situation, so we did the en masse approach. Karen came down to Lyme Regis over an Easter period where most of my family were on the chalet site, and spent a very confused day with me waving at people and going, "Is that your cousin?" And there were about 15 of them. I met Karen's family, or part of them, at a Eurovision Song Contest, which was a very random affair. But we do, both of our families do en masse celebrations, and one of the things that I really sort of wanted to talk about was Fambo, and it's been referenced quite a lot over the course of the weekend. So thank you to the Aslets for introducing me to the fact that Christmas can happen at any time of the year. As long as you've got an artificial tree, some really crap decorations, and a box of mince pies that's got a really long shelf life. So thank you for that. And I also just wanted to say thank you to the Aslets for sort of welcoming me into the family fold.
Wow.
And there's no getting rid of me now. So thank you. I think the overwhelming response from friends and family over a period of time of getting to know us is that we're pretty good together, and that we spend an awful lot of time, we've got shared interests, and that we were perfect for each other. So I think my expectations really were that if Karen loved Ebony and loved Lime, we were okay. The fact that she quite liked me was a bit of a bonus in the package. The next phase of our relationship was probably the most challenging for us, and it was the long distance relationship challenge, where we really were.
That was really painful.
Where we really were living for the weekends, and Karen was doing 100-mile round trips, really grumpily, every Sunday night, living out of a bag. So I just wanted to say thank you to Karen for putting up with it and for doing the miles, and I hope that it was worth it. So our shared interests soon became very obvious. One of the most of them was our sporting sort of shared interests. So over the time that we've been together, we've had some brilliant experiences at Wimbledon, loads of cricket tournaments, the Rugby World Cup, and probably the pinnacle of our sporting experience, the 2012 London Olympics, which was amazing. So I really couldn't think of a better person to experience that with, except you'll never ever replace Emma as my little Wimbledon buddy. So there's no going back. You'll never knock her. You'll never be the first with a Wimbledon ticket. I'm sorry.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
One of the other shared interests of ours is travel. So we've been to some amazing places. Highlights being Scoma, the Lake District. Part of Karen's Welsh heritage has allowed me to explore Wales and the Welsh coastline, and we holidayed there for a number of years, but particularly Devon and Dorset as well. And I think we've really got a shared philosophy that the best things in life are free. So the fact that we've spent loads of time doing walking and fishing and spending a lot of time hunting for non-existent fossils, we've seen some amazing views and had some pretty good picnics along the way. So we haven't always had, and we still don't have, shared interests. As I got to know the Aslets, I kept hearing them talking about our Ken, and Adrian and William. And there was these members of the family, I thought that were long-distance cousins, that I'd never met. I soon realised that actually I'd entered into a complete bunch of lovies. And that they were actually referencing Kenneth Branagh, Avery Lester and William Shakespeare. But they're actually on first name terms. So I needed to brush up on my culture if I was going to hold my own at the dinner table. Equally, Karen has shown an awful lot of patience and tolerance with putting up with my eternal quest to spot a kingfisher and an otter, having traipsed miles and miles of rivers and fields, and has also put up with my love of Bruce Springsteen. So, I think one of the things that we've realised is that our families have raised two very strong-minded, very independent women, and cohabitation has been a test of the art of compromise. But we have got a phrase that we go back to all the time to say that we never really argue about the big stuff, but we can have a 3-day row about a washing machine.